Hello, and welcome to another D&D Live with your friend Bard. Now, last night we tried to do this, and it didn't work. Some people were on, and they had a great time, and we talked, and we had a great conversation as well. And that was blown away by my phone deciding to not work functionably, and the charger not charging my phone. So it died. And that was very unfortunate because it actually ended up not saving it. So I decided tonight that we'd go over the exact same thing so the video actually posts. So if you had to be here last night, you might get the same type of things with a few little differences because I read the book almost entirely again by the time we got to, let's say, I would say about like 2 o'clock this afternoon. So anyway, yeah, so I decided that I was going to pick classes from every single one of these and tell you my impressions. Now, question number one, why didn't I do this when it first came out? The answer for that is simple, because I hadn't really felt like there was a real good idea of it until I played it. You know, because I can read the book, but until I test it out, kind of like Unearthed Arcana from Wizards of the Coast, you don't know what you're going to get until you get in there. But I got in there, and I've got my feet wet with a lot of the classes, and I've had a lot of fun with it. So anyway, we're going to get started, and if you're just popping in, Xanathar's Guide to Everything is one of my favorite books. I've been waiting for this book for a long time. It was very hyped, I guess would be the word for it. It is one of those books that you wish was thicker because it has so much just jammed into every page. So let's get started without further ado, because last night we were going and it was on like 23 minutes when my phone died, which was very unfortunate. So anyway, I'm going to go through each each class and pick my favorite. So if I go Barbarian, I'm going to pick one of my favorite Barbarians, Bard, and so forth. Okay, so last night I was talking about how the Barbarians, I felt like they did a great job on. Okay, hold on, I'm reading this. Xanathar is full of neat little additions that help a character flavorfully. I swapped, hold on, let me open this up. Sorry, my glasses are foggy because my son was smacking them off my face. I swapped a tactical fighter champion to a rogue inquisitive because it felt so much more natural. Oh yeah, I hear ya. I don't know if I'll ever go back to the normal classes. I've played them so much, and seen them played so much, that everyone in our campaign that we're running right now, if you've happened to watch it, we're only doing out of Xanathar's, and everyone that you see, like NPCs, most of them are going to be classes from Xanathar's Guide. So that's something that you can always look forward to. But it's also so I can test play them to see what I would play in the future when I'm a player. So anyway, Barbarian. So the ones that they have here is the Zealot, Storm Herald, and Ancestral Guardian. Each one brilliantly made. I think that they did a great job on it. I like the Zealot. I like the output he can do with like DPS and stuff like that. And side note, I love the beginnings here where they kind of add like tattoos and what they mean, or personal totems that you carry with you. Each one of the classes have these little tidbits to make your character feel a little bit more fleshed out. So it's awesome. Oh, and I should mention, we didn't do a live yesterday. We didn't do a D&D, we play once a week, and it didn't happen. So we're going to try to shoot for Monday and Friday next week. So that's something to look forward to. My personal favorite, anyway, out of the Barbarians is the Barbarian Storm Herald. Now, the reason why is because I've seen a little bit of it played, but so when you think of rage, when you think of a Barbarian, when they rage, they just lose all their senses. They can be calm and kind and, very soft, but, strong in 1 second, and then the next moment they can be like a storm. They can be like a Storm Herald, these Barbarians. And so when they're raging, it becomes this tempest of whatever they're from, whether they're desert, tundra, sea. It gives you these little aspects that you can really role play with. So if you pick something that's totally out of your league, like a desert landscape, it becomes totally logical that your character would suddenly have the ability to activate fire when they're totally angry. Because if you think of rage, it's almost like an element. The sea is the same way. It's calm 1 second and you're smooth waters, and then the next moment it's a total destruction. And that's kind of what rage does with a barbarian. And I feel like that one naturally fits for me. I love the other two. I won't talk about them yet. I can talk about them another time, but I'm just picking my favorites right now. Could change. But that's my favorite right now. All right, next we're going to go with Bard. Yes, Bards. They have the Bards of the Colleges of Glamour, Swords, and Whispers. I love how someone described Glamour. They said it's like Freddie Mercury meets Bard, which I'm a huge Queen fan. I thought that was really funny. I think that's great. I love being able to be like the pop star of wherever you're from. You know, going around, people know you. You can get in places. Thought that was brilliant. My favorite though, I think Swords is great. I mean, let's face it, a bard that can kick butt, yeah, it's awesome. But I loved the College of Whisperers. I think that fits me personally a little bit better. The way I play bards is very manipulative. And what's funny is that they pretend to be other classes. They pretend to be a bard of lore or something, but when in reality there's this underlying manipulative entity that can go in and out of places with disguises and really just shape the battlefield as they go. Like being able to use words of terror to infuse innocent seeming words with an insidious magic that can inspire terror. So you get with this person for like 1 minute, and that person is terrified of you or someone in the party that you pick. I think that's great. I love that. I love that you're this like psychic blade user. All right, I'm back. Knocked over some MTG Magic the Gathering cards. Yeah, depends on how much you have. That can be quite the pickup. Anyway, so College of Whispers, my pick for Bard. Next, we're going on to Cleric. So Cleric, I love what they've done here. Now, I thought the Cleric of the Grave was going to be my favorite. I'm really, I'm an Edgar Allan Poe fan. I'm into the macabre. I like dark, creepy vampire books. I have tons of vampire books. Anne Rice is like one of my favorite writers. And I thought it was just going to be, another book series. It's called, I think it's just called 12 is the first one. It's by Jasper Kent. That's a creepy vampire one, set in the Napoleon era. Anyway, I digress. I thought he was going to be a lot cooler. I thought he was going to be like this darker, creepier one, but he's more of a, you know, he passes between life and death, and he helps deities of death, and I think that can be really cool if it's role played correctly. Personally, I was looking for a little bit something else. I'm not sure what I was looking for. It's still really cool, and I would love to use it, but I love that they finally added the Forge domain. Thank you so much, because everyone needs that dwarf cleric that can make stuff, that can enchant stuff, and make things even stronger and better. We've been waiting for that. People kind of play with it, and I mean, heaven forbid, I've done it in my campaigns where I suddenly just add a character that knows how to make stuff a little bit stronger, instead of just going into a town, you know? Yeah, I love that one. So next, we're moving on to Druid. And I was saying last night, I don't really play Druid too much. I like Druids. I always make them kind of like, not a bad guy, because I use the bad guy term loosely. I took a college course one time, and they talked about taking a villain and turning him into a good guy, and the good guy into a villain. One of the best things that I've ever done in my life, and I highly suggest that you do this on your own time if you're going to DM, take a villain in any story and fight for them. Talk about why they're a good person, see their point of view, and then you can really create the most excellent villains that you've ever created, because they become not bad guys, just like, I'm bad for the sake of being bad. I did it on Dracula. Turned it around, made John Harker this weakling that I hated, and then Dracula was this character that just was misunderstood and that was forced and cursed and stuff like that. So when you look at druids, I always turn them into these, you know, they're good people, but they protect the wild. And what is the wild? It is wild. So if you go into the wild and you start messing with their stuff, they're going to fight for it. So I've done that in my campaigns, but they're not typically that way. I kind of like the Circle of the Shepherd, but I read the Circle of Dreams a little bit more yesterday, and it says druids who are members of the Circle of Dreams hail from regions that have strong ties to the Feywild. That's awesome. I didn't actually remember that part. They have connections with the Feywild, which is really this untamed thing anyway. So when they come, they have a natural alliance with the good aligned Fey. These druids seek to fill the world, and with dreamy wonder, their magic mends wounds and brings joy to downcast hearts. Kind of like a bard in sense, but very like naturistic. So if you play well or have someone that would play a druid well, I would recommend that one. All right, I do love shape-shifting. It's an interesting feat that they can do. All right, fighter. I didn't know if this was going to be my favorite. Oh, hold on, I'm going to read that comment. It says, I only ever made one druid and took most by surprise when they found out I was based at off a very Aztecish design and was into cannibalism, sacrifice of nature, and such. Brutal, but but honorable character. You know what? I love history. Aztecs. Actually, if you guys saw the episode with the basilisk, his name was Cuauhtemoc, which is just I think he was the last ruler of Tenochtitlan, the Aztecs. Cool. That's awesome. I'd like to see that kind of stat of a character who's like this brutal druid. I think they can be. Everyone plays them as this like kind-hearted, like I'm forest, but like the Fae it can switch on you. Like any pixie or anything that you find there, it seems like it's so nice, but it just can easily destroy you as fast. If you haven't read this book, I'm talking a lot about books. Name of the Wind, Wise Man's Fear, Patrick Rothfuss, best author I've ever read. I mean, hands down. He's a huge D&D fan. He actually made his character when he was in a cabin once, playing like when he was in like middle school or something. Yeah, anyway, read that book. Anyway, fighters. I digress. Fighters. I thought they were going to be kind of boring. I've never played a fighter, never really was interested because magic and all that fun stuff. I felt like fighters were so limited to, I hit it, I shoot it. And they've done more. The samurai, thank you. We've been waiting for that one. Nature is savage and magical forces within are chaotic, so no idea why most druids see a lawful side of, okay, hold on, taming the wild nature of it all. Right? Because it is savage. I 100% emphatically agree with you. All right, samurai, thank you for adding that because we actually did one where we had a samurai and it was kind of, I homebrewed it. It just didn't turn out the way I wanted. I really feel like they need to add a few things more at the beginning to make it a little bit more interesting because beginning levels kind of fizzle out compared to the others, but I really do think the samurai can be an awesome class. I said Cavalier last night, that was my favorite, but I changed my mind again. Every day, it's different. I love the Arcane Archer. So, right here, these are the classes. I think the Arcane Archer has this intense ability to change the battlefield. Now, I mean, if you could shoot an arrow around a corner or someone you previously saw, it's like wanted. I thought that was brilliant. Grasping arrow, piercing arrow, they have so many options. Beguiling arrows, bursting arrows, enfeebling arrow. One of my favorites was, I think it was a shadow? No, that one blinds them. There was one banishing arrow. This abjuration magic is to try to temporarily banish your target to a harmless location in the Feywild. You shoot a person and all of a sudden they're gone. And, they come back, I think it was the next turn or something, but it basically disables that person for the next turn. So you could potentially take out a boss, kill a bunch of the minions, he misses a turn, he comes back and everyone gangs up on him. I think that's brilliant. Arcane Archers is why I love using magic, but not using magic, if that makes sense. Totally does. When you use an Arcane Archer, which, by the way, Mr. Morgan, your Arcane Archer is coming up soon in the campaign. Just wanting to let you know. Probably, if not the next one, it'll be the one afterward. It depends on what people play. We're going to shoot for Monday, so we get a chance. Monday evening around 8. If not Friday, around 8. It's dependent upon the characters that play with us. All right. Anyway, I really like that one. I feel like it can do some really cool stuff. That's not even. I mean, yeah, they have the arrows, but they have so many more things that they can do that are pretty cool. The Monk. Now, the Drunken Master, which, let's face it, anytime there's a Drunken Master in any Kung Fu movie or something like that, it's hilarious how good they are at fighting and how drunk that they are. Can really create some interesting role play as long as the character is not infantile, where they're going to make some jokes constantly and impossible to walk down a street without them causing some kind of problem. It depends on who you're with. Because they're not so much that way. It's just when they're fighting, they like to stay drunk. Or they're perpetually drunk, depending on the person. I love the Kensei and the Sun Soul. My favorite, we have a Sun Soul in our group, if you haven't been watching. The Sun Soul, I feel like, can be amazing. We have an Aasimar Protector Sun Soul, which is really a cool mix because it's already got the light magic and then adding the class to it. I think it's cool. But I love the Kensei. The Kensei is a monk with swords. Rather than just a little short sword, this person can They train relentlessly with their weapons to the point where the weapon becomes an extension of their body. Founding on the mastery of sword fighting, tradition is expanded to include many different weapons. They see a weapon much the same way a calligrapher or painter regards a pen or brush, which, by the way, they are proficient in calligraphy and painting. So, I mean, it really gives you this. I really love Japanese culture. I think it is one of the most beautiful things ever, especially the way of the samurai and Bushido and those type of teachings where it's just the dedication to an art and then mastering it. I think it is something that Americans lack. Uh, definitely. I mean, of course, not every Japanese that way, but I'm just saying, like it's a teaching, it's a way of life, and I think it's a beautiful thing. So the Kensei figuring out a way to manipulate a blade in such a way that's amazing. I think it's great. Before I run out of battery again, I don't know where I'm at. Paladin, my obvious choice. I like that they have the Oath of Redemption for those kind of pacifist players that want to cause the way out. Like, let's find a way to find a peaceful resolution. I think it mentions in there that you're really looking for a way. Your tenets are peace, innocence, patience, and wisdom. Most players aren't going to do that. Just a quick heads up. But Oath of Conquest can be equally frustrating. I could see someone who is douse the flame of hope, rule with an iron fist, strength above all, those tenets. That can be really difficult if someone's just going through and just like, I have to destroy that enemy, otherwise I get punished. It could be crazy, because what if someone gets away? He gets punished and becomes a oathbreaker, Alright, here we go. Hold on, I've got to read this comment. Oath of Conquest is neat, and it offers some cool ways to RP. It does. I plan on running a conquest path with help those he sees as a worthwhile to the world or are worthy to become better than they are. Right. You can see, in the way I was looking at it is I was thinking about my group and how they would probably roleplay it. And maybe how I would roleplay it. And I feel like I wouldn't be able to do it properly. So I'd love to hear how you do it, because that one's my pick. Mostly because it feels like it would fit the world better for us playing on a table than suing for peace everywhere. Unless you're in a peaceful campaign, can be done, and they can be beautiful. Intrigue, you can do a lot of intrigue rather than just going slaughtering and bashing skulls. But I kind of like the action myself. Alright, next we're going to Ranger. Again, hard to pick from this one. They have the Horizon Walker, which is the twin brother of the Aasimar. His name's Wyron. He's a Horizon Walker. We need to focus a little bit more with him on trying to get, listen and find portals. But he's at the beginning of it, so he'll get in some crazy good stuff. I love the Horizon Walker, but the Monster Slayer, Gloomwalker, those three, I choose Monster Slayer. I am a fan of The Witcher. I read the book. I have the book over there. The Last Wish. There's many books, but that's the first book I read. And I just kind of heard of The Witcher being a game, and I read the book, and then I played the Witcher series, and I love it. I love Monster Hunters. I think that it's a brilliant idea. I added silver weapons to kind of be more of a thing when you're fighting monsters in my world. So it kind of is cool because he can immediately. One of my favorite things is he gains the ability at 3rd level to peer at a creature and magically discern how best to hurt it. How great is that? To just immediately see a creature and be like, I know what hurts you. And it's like looking at Smog and seeing that he's got a little niche in his dragon armor. And then you can just shoot an arrow and boom, you're done. That's really useful, especially we're now in the Underdark, and gosh, I wish we had a monster hunter. Oh, we do. He's an NPC until he comes. He's off and on. I think that one's the best. When I say best, my favorite. I mean, the other two are great, but that one's my favorite right now. Okay, we're going on to Rogue. We don't have a lot of time. I don't want to talk all night. I've got things to do. Swashbuckler, Mastermind, Inquisitive, and Scout. Okay, so of these, there's none in the group that have these. I've made them, and they have been in the campaign, haven't shown up yet. But I love the Scout. I think that is such a cool Ranger because it's kind of a natural fit for a Ranger. Swashbuckler, I almost thought that was going to be a Rogue. It fits for Ranger, though. I do like what they do with it. I love Inquisitive. I think that's cool what you're talking about. I want to actually talk to you more about Inquisitive, what your thoughts are on that. But Mastermind, for me personally, I think that would be a fun roleplay. And mind you, it's either for seasoned, I would say seasoned hold on, my battery's telling me things. Swash is rogue. You kept saying ranger. Yes, I did. Yeah, Swashbuckler is more of a rogue because it is a rogue. Thank you so much. Yes, yes, absolutely. I apologize. Yeah, the Swashbuckler is. What I was going to say, and I said last night, is that it was kind of a piratey thing, and I don't think it necessarily needs to be just a piratey thing. What I meant to say is ranger. I went to say bard because you know how they have the Bardic College of Swords. So that's where I was going with that. But yeah, the Swashbuckler interesting. But I love the Mastermind because he's able to. You can. I feel like you could roleplay that in a very interesting way by taking a step back. You know what I mean? Like a Lex Luthor of the group. You're not necessarily the fighter, but you are kind of the person who's in charge. Whether you are in the front about it or not, because every mastermind is different. But he's a master of tactics, insightful manipulator. He gets these crazy increases right here to intelligence, wisdom, charisma, things like that. He can misdirect. He's just got this soul of deceit about him, and that's one of the things. But he's got this way of taking things and twisting it around, kind of like the College of Whispers for them. Okay, Sorcerer. This is where we got last night and the video shut off. I have 20% battery, so I should be good, but who knows? It's an old phone. Alright, so Divine Soul, Storm Sorcerer, Shadow Sorcerer. You can already guess where I'm going with this. Shadow Sorcerer. I thought the Divine Soul is great. I thought that was an interesting choice. I don't know if I'd play it that much, but it says sometimes a spark of magic that fuels a sorcerer comes from a divine source, which, it was left into interpretation with sorcerers. It was like, you don't know where you got your power from, or it came from so-and-so and something. You picked up a stone and it just gave you power. You know what I mean? I like sorcerers more than wizards because I feel like wizards are so confined to this book. But sorcerers are just this, like, it just, like, comes from them and is this cool thing. So when you come from, like, a god or something, if that's what you're role-playing, that can be really cool. I'm not saying any of these are bad. I'm just saying over them all, I think Storm is interesting, but I love the Shadow Sorcerer because it's almost like, okay, let me just read this. It says, you are a creature of shadow. For your innate magic comes from the Shadowfell itself. You might trace your lineage to an entity from a place, or perhaps you were exposed to a foul energy and transformed by it. The power of the shadow magic casts a strange pall over your physical presence. And they actually have little tables here, and they have them right here about these effects that are like, for instance, you are icy cold to the touch, or you don't bleed when you're injured, and people around you are just kind of like, it's this interesting little twist. And I love roleplay. Anything that is of these classes that adds like a roleplay element, I'm gonna pick it most of the time. Of course, you can with anything, but this one I feel like I could do very well. I love the Eyes of the Dark, that they can see dark vision, whether they're human or whatever. Strength of the Grave. You exist in twilight state between life and death. So if you get brought down to 0, you can immediately make a charisma saving throw, and you're brought 5 plus the damage taken. So you can just like jump back up. It's crazy. I think that's a great boon to the group. All right, next, Warlock. Now they have the Celestial. What? Warlock Celestial? Yeah. That threw me off too. Or the Hex Blade, which I would pick the Hex Blade. But first, let me talk about the Celestial. If you haven't seen that, that is an interesting choice. So you see that guy right there? Does he look like a warlock to you? Well, he is. And I thought that was interesting because they said, your patron is a powerful being of the upper planes. You've bound yourself to an ancient Empyrean, solar, or Kiran unicorn, or whatever. It says your pact with the being allows you to experience the barest touch of holy light. So I thought that was weird, but he can heal. He's got a radiant soul attack. He's got, it's interesting. I thought that was so weird when I read that it was I'd watched some things on it before, but I saw that and I was just blown away. But the Hex Blade, personally, I think that's awesome. You can add like hexes to your blade. You can curse it. You can, you just get these like crazy fast attacks all the way at the beginning. But one of my favorite, which is going to start making its appearance, is the Accursed Spectre. You kill someone, and you can bring their soul back and turn it into a specter who stays with you and fights with you until a long rest. So you basically just gain this familiar, like when you're doing the Pact of the Familiar, but you can have that, and if you had a familiar as well, it's I mean, you can't, but I mean, you know what I mean? It's interesting if you're doing like invocations and stuff, but I thought it was really cool. I think that we have a Hexblade. His name is Odeon. That is the name of the player. I mean, the character, not the player, because there's no player. I am the player. I'm the DM. It's an NPC. But lastly, there is only one, and I was kind of disappointed there was only one, but the Wizard. And he is the War Mage, which, from afar, for me, sounded really fun. I just feel like it's very, I don't know, predictable. I felt like they could have done some more wizards. I mean, let's face it, they're called Wizards of the Coast. It's Dungeons and Dragons. It's all about wizards and stuff. Wizards shape the world all the time. They only gave us one. I was a little disappointed. But that being said, obviously I have to pick him because he's the only one. But it says a variety of arcane colleges specialize in training wizards for war. Followers of this tradition are known as war mages. They see that magic is both a weapon and armor. So he can arcane deflect, he can power surge, tactical, wit, durable magic, deflecting shroud. He's got some cool things, and naturally it's going to be intense. But I feel like, I don't know if I'd ever be it. I don't know if I'd ever be a wizard. But if you're into wizards, and that sounds awesome, tell me below what you would do with a war mage. Like, how would you roleplay that? Maybe I just need to force myself to do it. Alright, here we go. Let's see what we got here. To be fair, the spellcasters have less flexibility in design than other classes. As weird as it is, wizards don't have specialties, just different spellbooks. Right. I think that's really my issue, because everyone else has feats. Like, for instance, a ranger has all these feats, but then they also have some magic, too. If a wizard is out of spells, they're pretty much this useless, weak... I mean, they're a glass cannon, for sure. They can do some amazing things. But I feel like they get so bogged down with these spells, and if they run out, they're done. I mean, yeah, they have so you can find some weapons or some magic items that it can kind of turn it, but I feel like wizards for me, sorcerers can be great. I played a sorcerer that I focused a lot on, like, there was a homebrew, Aikido, which basically any one of those attacking me, I had a chance, a reaction to deflect them or push them or something, which saved my butt on multiple occasions. But other than that, I feel like a lot of magic users, it's difficult to play when you're in like a long fight or several fights without a long rest or short rest. So yeah, anyway, those are my picks. I think this book is great. I'm definitely going to do some more. I want to talk about the tools. I want to talk about the absolute intense, like, all this extra stuff. I felt like the magic items were weak and I wasn't too excited about it, but we'll get into that another time. I just want to say we're going to shoot for Monday for our first live of the week. Going to be like the actual game we're playing. So if you haven't popped in, we have a recap at the beginning, so you're not going to miss anything. I'm doing that now. I didn't do it in the first 3, but I'm doing it now, where I'm going to recap the previous episodes. So if you feel like you have no idea what's going on and you don't want to just start in, you can, because I'm going to do that. Secondly, there's going to be another one. I do, on Mondays also, I'm now taking requests. I do already have one set, because it was a patron who's giving me paying me for it, so it will be on Wednesday. There'll be another song, and then Friday we're gonna have probably, hopefully, depending on players if they're available, we're gonna play our game again. So yeah, it's gonna be fun. If you have any requests that you want me to take a look at, any classes that you want me to give my insight on, of course you can find it online and do your own thing and research. But if you want my opinion, please let me know below, and I definitely research probably more than I should. Obsession is one word that's been thrown around, but I love D&D, and I love, mostly I love creative and fantasy, and it really is a great outlet for me. As you can tell, I've been doing this for less than a year, and we're having a lot of fun growing. We're almost to 50,000 views on the channel, which to other people, that's like every video, or much less than every video, but for me it's huge because this was just for fun. It was a hobby, and it's turning into so much more. I have a Patreon, Gaden's a member of, and it's a lot of fun. I'm putting a lot of work into it, mostly the world that I'm creating. I'm hoping someday to turn it into a book. So if you have any suggestions or comments on that, you can definitely go check it out. It's in there. You just have to kind of look for it. I'll make a post so it's easier to find. Anyway, battery's about to die. I want to say thank you, and may your rolls always be natural ones, and just not natural ones like our name. Have a fantastic evening. This was Xanathar's Guide to Everything, and I think next I'm going to do the Abyss module, because that's what we're kind of running a little bit at the moment. Alright, hey guys, I'll see you later. Thank you so much for joining. Goodbye.